How's it going, everybody? This is my first motherfucking webcam thingy, and my brother Nash told me that I should talk about UFC 135 Rampage versus John Jones. And I know most of my Facebook friends know nothing about the UFC and don't care to know anything about the UFC, and that's fair. It's like, do you? But I'm gonna waste like 35 minutes of anyone who watches this time talking about it. So please enjoy that. Let's see. First things first. It's Friday, so then tomorrow night at 8, the fights will start playing in Rampage, and John Jones probably won't start around 11. And my prediction for the fight would probably be John Jones by complete domination. But that's too bad, honestly, because Rampage is my favorite fighter of all time. And he's been training really hard for the fight. He said that if you watch the videos, he's been training at the Muscle Farm, and he's been looking real good. But at the end of the day, you really have to say, like, your favorite fighter or the better fighter. And John Jones is the better, younger, more athletic and physically capable, and he has a lot more tools to finish the fight and just win the fight in general. Rampage doesn't wrestle. His jiu-jitsu's been terrible since Pride, and John Jones has both of those things. And as far as striking goes, you have a boxer versus someone who can pretty much do everything. So that's the way that's going to go down. The next fight, the one before that, is Josh Koscheck versus Matt Hughes. And someone said in an interview that when McCain called UFC cockfighting, that's what they meant. It was assholes like that fighting. But yeah, like Matt Hughes, biggest dick on the planet, and then Koscheck soon vying for that title, apparently. And I guess that whoever wins the fight gets to be biggest dick in the UFC, but we'll see what happens. Matt Hughes is really just, Josh Koscheck is really just the younger version of Matt Hughes, but only by like 4 years. So I don't think that age is going to be as much of a factor as people think it will be. But yeah, like two heavy hitters with not a lot of technical skill in striking, who are both very good collegiate and just wrestlers in general in the mixed martial arts. And they love to ground and pound. So we're definitely going to see probably a stand-up fight. I think Josh Koscheck has a lot of respect for Matt Hughes' takedown ability, and vice versa. So I don't think that either of them will go in and start clinching right away unless something goes wrong in the first round. And then we're definitely going to see a clinch fest right away. And I'm staring at myself right now. I know I'm supposed to stare at the camera. This is probably more comfortable, but like staring at myself the whole time. And then the fight before that, I think, is Nate Diaz versus Takanori Gomi. And the funny thing about the Nate Diaz fight is Dana White said that Nate Diaz is nothing like his brother Nick, which is hilarious because, like, I don't know. I guess I don't think I'm anything like my brothers, but they're not coke-headed jackasses. So I just feel like that runs strong in your blood. But Takanori Gomi is just too old and hasn't fought anyone decent or won against anyone decent in like 6 years. So I think you easily give that fight to Nate Diaz. I think they're trying to keep him in the UFC because who would want to be the guy who cuts Nick Diaz's little brother? Like, how are you going to break that conversation to him? Like, oh, Nick, I know that you're out of your mind and you're coked out right now, but we cut your little brother from the UFC and he won't be fighting with you anymore. So I'm more excited, though, for UFC 137. You got GSP versus Carlos Condit now, and BJ Penn versus Nick Diaz, which is just two better fights. Because if you look at GSP and Carlos Condit, very similar fighters, good wrestlers, good strikers, good chits games. And then if you look at Nick Diaz and BJ Penn, extremely similar. Good boxers with a great off their back, not really good on top. Neither of them have a lot of takedown ability, except for BJ Penn did show some in the John Fitch fight, which was very impressive. But just in general, those look like mirrored images of each other, except for in the GSP Carlos Condit fight. GSP couldn't finish my little brother Nash, who's right there. If you guys can't see him, he's a fat slob. And GSP probably couldn't knock him out. And Carlos Condit is a finisher all the way. I think he's finished 22 of his fights, and that is just not something you should quote me on because I'm not entirely sure right now. But yeah, I'm definitely expecting Carlos Condit to give GSP a fight, like a real one, and then GSP to win easily. Because that's what GSP does. Take him to decision, jab him a couple hundred times, and then take him to decision, and then do his little backflippy thing. Because he conserves so much energy that he's capable of doing that, which is just embarrassing. And then in the BJ Penn fight, Uh, Someone said that taking this fight was going to save his career, Nick Diaz's career, because he had messed up so much with Dana White. But I don't see how that's possible. BJ Penn is not a fan favorite. No one likes BJ. I love BJ Penn, but no one loves BJ Penn. People think he's an asshole and he's lazy. And no one thinks of him as a very good fighter. And he's going to beat the crap out of Nick Diaz. So I don't know how that saves his career at all. Nick Diaz is supposed to be the champ coming from Strikeforce to fight the champ. But he's not fighting the champ. He's fighting someone who lost to the champ twice, easily. And he's going to lose to that guy. He's going to lose to BJ Penn because BJ Penn showed over and over again that he's going to beat anyone like him. Kenny Florian, Diego Sanchez, both guys that are like good stand-up fighters with their hands, mostly hands, and then great off their backs. And, you know, Kenny Florian, I guess, is a pretty good wrestler too. And he demolished, BJ Penn demolished both of those guys easily. Made both of them look like they shouldn't have been in the cage with him. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do to Nick Diaz. And I know everyone's like, Nick Diaz is cardio, he runs marathons. Who the fuck cares if he runs marathons? You're not fighting anyone in a triathlon. I'm very sorry. You're not fighting anybody in a triathlon. Like, are you fucking kidding me right now? BJ Penn has terrible cardio, but Nick Diaz smokes a lot of weed. And he gets away with having okay cardio because he does that. He does triathlons. He goes out to San Diego once a week and fucking swims and then runs and bikes a couple fucking miles. And then everyone's like... he's got good cardio, and it's ridiculous. He in his fights, you can't tell he gets tired because he's so sloppy. He just like wails his arms back and forth. He has very little technique and not a lot of power either. BJ Penn's got both of those. So that's what I think about that. Next subject. Killer Elite's coming out. So anyone that wants to hear about that, this is pretty funny. So it's a true story. And by that I mean they're calling it a true story. Like, this story is not true at all. You got Jason Statham, who's an assassin, and then Robert De Niro, who's his father, who is also an assassin. Although I don't think it's his birth father, I think it's his assassin father. Because once you become an assassin, of course, you get another father, because fuck your old one. So then Robert De Niro is his assassin father, and he gets kidnapped by assassins. So then Jason Statham has to assassinate the assassins who want to kill his assassin father before they assassinate him. It's pretty funny, right? Like, true fucking story. Read about that on CNN a couple years ago, didn't I? Not. I just don't get it, how movies can come out these days and call themselves true. It's just like The Blind Side. Like here you go again. A story that was probably true. It is true. The Blind Side's a true story. Killer Elite's probably based off something that actually happened with mercenaries or hired guns or contractors for the government or something like that. And you just take it and you give it to Hollywood and you say, spin this in the best way possible where we can sell this to millions of people. And not just millions, like billions pretty much. Because, you know, Chinese people love that shit. And so you got Jason Statham, because I'm sure whoever really did this looked just like Jason Statham and was a black belt in 100 fucking martial arts. And you got Clive Owen as the bad guy. You know, King Arthur kidnaps your dad. That shit happens every weekend for me. And then you got Robert De Niro as your dad. Why the fuck not? anytime an action star, I wouldn't call Robert De Niro an action star from before, but anytime a star like gets a little older, he just becomes the badass's dad. I don't know if people have noticed that or not. But like Robert De Niro, too old to play the badass, so he's going to play the guy that raised the badass, who's pretty badass himself. So why the fuck not? The last time I saw a Robert De Niro movie was Righteous Kill, and not ashamed to say that. I don't even know if he made a movie with 50 Cent. That might have been the movie with 50 Cent. Let me think about it. Yeah, 50 Cent played Spider in that movie, and so it was Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. And the opening scene that I remember is 60-year-old Al Pacino and like 58-year-old Robert De Niro lifting weights. It's just like they walk into the police station and they're talking about pounding vagina. Sorry, everybody who's under 18 out there. They're talking about having relations with women and lifting weights, which is just fucking hilarious because they would need the Posivac and 20,000 Viagra pills to do either of those things. What the shit? And then I cracked myself up. But yeah, so Killer Elite's coming out. That's getting like way more press than it ever will deserve. Like, whatever. And then Warrior came out about 2 weeks ago and got almost nothing and didn't make a lot of money. It was a completely fictional story about two brothers who were both competing in the same mixed martial arts tournament and coincidentally had to fight each other. It was a very, very easily movie to figure out as far as like the main goal, which is they join the tournament, They don't like each other. They end up fighting in the finals. That wasn't really the point of the movie, though. I feel like a lot of people played it off as easy to read, but there was something else going on there. So watch it again if you thought that. And if you haven't seen it yet, watch it. It's a very good movie. You got Dan Hardy, or Tom Hardy, very sorry about that, and who's going to be in the new Batman as Bane, and he was in Inception, which I didn't see because I'm not retarded. And Bronson, Tom Hardy is the main guy from Bronson. If you haven't seen Bronson, watch that too, because he plays a British criminal who calls himself Charlie. Bronson's a true story, who decided that the only thing he'd ever be good at was going to prison. So there you go. Yeah, so you got Tom Hardy and the guy from another guy from King Arthur playing the other brother. And man if I forgot that guy's name, but I feel bad because he's really good in the movie. And you got Nick Nolte playing the dad, and Nick Nolte's he's my favorite actor of all time, I think, easily. Nick Nolte's fucking amazing. And in this movie, he plays just a complete ex-drunk, and that's the best kind of dad. Like, not drunk anymore, so you don't have to worry about him, but used to be a drunk, so you can just trash him all the time. Yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. I don't know. No one's going to watch this, but if you do, thanks, because that's fucking hilarious. Like, I'm just completely sober right now, and I just took like a 5-hour nap, and I decided to fuck around with my sister-in-law's new computer, and I'll probably be doing this about every UFC event. This one is unscripted. Next one will be scripted. No bad stuff, and it'll be much longer. So, yeah, my birthday was the other day. I'm 20 years old now. Guess what I got? I used to have this theory. It was just like 4 years ago I came up with this, and I decided the day that you have a birthday and you don't get any presents is the day you should kill yourself. And that happened yesterday. I got socks from my mom, but I made her buy the socks. So there's that. Yeah, thanks everybody. UFC 135 is happening tomorrow. Watch it. All my non-UFC friends. Watch the fights. Stop being fucking hippies. And then UFC 137 is in October, and that's really the one people should be watching. I think that's going to be one of the best fights. You got Donald Cerrone versus Dennis Siver, two good kickboxers. Yeah, I'm going to end this mid-sentence, though. I'm just going to be like, oh shit, I forgot